All right. Thank you. What's up, nerds, and welcome back to Shadow of War. I just failed miserably at this mission several times, so I'm going to go with Bruce. I'm just going to go with Bruce.
We didn't get the satisfying ending.
We did not get the satisfying. Where is Bruce? I think he's further away than I'm... He's here. Okay, I can teleport closer to that. We're having a good time here. Brent, Alex, Mercedes, and I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were just talking about Star Wars and movies, cinematography. It was a great conversation.
Visual storytelling. Talking about confidence just now, off camera.
What's wrong with being... What? That's enough. One of my favorite Demi Lovato songs. What's wrong with being confident? Or no, sorry. Confident. That being a lyric in the song. This has been a bit.
Listen, I was about to break into Sound of Music, and then it's like, what's wrong? And I was like, oh, wait. And I was like, oh, that's the song, too. I forgot Demi Lovato sings that.
For a while in high school, I used confident as an alarm sound. Da-da-da-da.
Oh, jeez. I would scare the crap out of me.
Yeah, I changed it to Philip Phillips a while, shortly after that.
That's good. This man's lost his head.
Yeah, always kill the messenger.
In Mordor, that's the rule.
He's Mordor's first Muppeteer.
Yep. It's Jim Henson.
It's the frozen head of Walt Disney.
By the way, real quick, sorry to get back on to Star Wars real quick. It just reminded me of talking about Muppets. So, talking about Star Wars Rebels, I was watching it when it was first coming out years and years ago. At one point, there's an episode where they go to a Jedi temple, and I remember they did a kind of a terrible job sometimes of spoiling things that were going to happen in the show. Because they go to a Jedi temple, and they speak to Master Yoda. And normally I would have expected them to use the voice of Tom Kane, who did the voice of Yoda in the Clone Wars animated series. But I saw there was an article that said Frank Oz returns as Yoda in this next episode of Star Wars Rebels. And I had to pause... Like, I don't know how, like, maybe 14-year-old me had... No, not 14-year-old. 16 or 17-year-old me had to pause at that because I was convinced Frank Oz was dead. I thought for years that Frank Oz died after Revenge of the Sith. I had heard somewhere, not from obviously a reliable source... that after filming Revenge of the Sith, Frank Oz had died. And I never was that much into IMDb at that point, so I never really bothered to look it up. So they're like, Frank Oz returns as Yoda.
Oh, hey, they resurrected him.
That's what I thought. I was like, did they freeze his head like Walt Disney? And I was just like, so confused as to how.
They just have a vault with all the frozen bodies of their stars.
Well, that's the thing, though. That's the thing, though. Today... The sort of like even, let's talk Rogue One. We talked about Rogue One. The resurrection of Peter Cushing. Like with with Digi-Tarkin in Rogue One. But also, Brett, do you mind if I spoil The Mandalorian for you right now?
No, it's fine.
Okay. Because in the season 2 finale, Luke Skywalker shows up. Mm-hmm. They did a whole...
I did know that already.
You knew that already. Okay. Yeah. So... Because for season 1, after the show came out, and they've been doing this a lot on Disney Plus, and I love that they do it, where like for their shows or even for their movies, they will put out like a making of, a behind the scenes stuff of these shows and movies, and I love that kind of stuff, especially as a filmmaker. And they did one for season 1 of Mandalorian. They talked about all the directors, the casting, the episodes themselves, the visual effects, everything, and it was so in depth and so cool. I loved it. They had an episode on like everything. For season 2, they had one episode. Mostly because they didn't need to go in a whole lot about casting, except for the newer characters that were in the season, because they'd already talked about Pedro Pascal and all the others. I completely mixed what's happening, but we're being ambushed, I know that much.
Bruce is trying to kill you, and if one of his boys kills you, all the better.
Yeah.
If they don't kill you, then that's when the fun begins.
Oh, you know what I need to do?
He's going to try to kill you.
I need to get this guy off. Come here, real quick. Thank you.
Yup.
Yes! Alright, that ability is super good. I don't know why I've never used it before. I literally just dominated all the Caragors by dominating one of them.
Oh.
That's an ability I unlocked and I've never used it. It is such a useful ability because now they're all my Caragors.
Nice.
So anyway, they only had one episode for season 2 of Mandalorian, and it was a bit confusing, especially because they started talking about the final episode, and they did not mention Luke. at
Did they not?
all.
Naturally.
But it was in the
I mean,
behind the
I
scenes
guess,
stuff,
yeah.
and so I was like, why? And it had already come out. And I was like, okay, that's it. I'm like, why? You're not going to talk about it? But then, a couple months ago, like several months ago at this point, they posted on Instagram and everything. There's like, hey, at this point, I think it was in September, October, releasing a whole episode on that just about Luke Skywalker.
Oh, that's cool.
And how secretive that whole thing was. And I swear I have a point to telling this. And they talked about, like, they, in the script, had it as a different Jedi. They had it as Plo Koon, a Jedi from the Clone Wars. Actually, Dave Filoni's favorite clone. And so, kind of as like a ploy. So that if that ever leaked, people would be like, oh, well, of course Dave Filoni would resurrect Plo Koon. Because Dave Filoni likes resurrecting dead characters. And then he likes Plo Koon. We're getting some conflict here between Italian and Kelly.
He's gonna lose that power bottom status
I know.
anytime soon.
Yeah. But anyway, so they had like, and it was so far as to like, they did concept art of Plo Koon when they did the visual effects. Here's the funny thing, because they had a double and they said, okay, this is just a double for Plo Koon. We're gonna digitalize his head. So like, even after filming it, they had like pre-res renditions of Plo Koon's head for like visual effects stuff, so that if anyone who didn't know came in, they would say, oh, there's Plo Koon. Like, we know that's happening. Where am I going now? So they had this whole secretive, like, this whole thing, like, the people who knew were forbidden from ever saying the name. Like, you couldn't even passively mention the name of Luke Skywalker, not even in the context of the show. Like, it was, even in the episode, this one guy was like, I don't even know if I'm technically allowed to say this right now. Like, I'm afraid that Jon Favreau is going to come kill me because of just how secret we kept this.
It's just
so basically Luke Skywalker became Voldemort.
Basically, that he who must not be named. And the funny thing is, in watching behind the scenes stuff, because the way they did is they filmed it with everybody, like everyone who's in the scene, and he walks in, and it was actually kind of smart, because he walks in with his lightsaber, and it's funny because he looks and is dressed exactly like Luke Skywalker. Mm-hmm. This guy looks a lot like Luke Skywalker, or at least in a way that you could look at him and be like, yeah, I could see that. Mm-hmm. Especially as like a double, like a stunt double.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, he's cosplaying.
Yeah. And he is Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. And the only difference, I think the thing that probably threw everybody off is because R2-D2 also shows up in that episode. But when they filmed it on set, a green droid rolls in. So it's technically not R2-D2. And he never says his name in the episode.
Oh yeah, he doesn't.
What they did is when they first came to this idea that they wanted to have Luke Skywalker in the show, they showed Mark Hamill the first episode of Mandalorian. And he's like, wow, this is really cool. And they're like, hey, yeah, we're thinking maybe having Luke Skywalker show up. Oh, by the way, Helm Hammerhand, Nazgul. We're about to learn more about the Nazgul.
Yeah, his was tragic.
Yeah, his rage knows no bounds.
Anyway,
and so they brought it to Mark Hamill and said, we're thinking of having Luke Skywalker be in the show. And they kind of wanted to get his permission, like, is that okay with you? And he's like, yeah, sure, that'd be great. And then they came to him a little while later, and they're like, hey, do you want to do it? Like, do you want to be Luke for this episode? And he was like, I never considered that, because he's, because what they pitched is, like, in the time frame of the show, it's still young Luke Skywalker. Look at those Caragors fly!
Kind of epic.
Yeah, and the timeline was young Luke Skywalker. So Mark Hamill, when they said we want to bring in Luke, he's like, oh, but that won't be me because, I'm too old for it at this point. And so they asked him if he wanted to do it. And they brought a costume of, like, young Luke Skywalker's costume to his house. They brought the Baby Yoda, also known as Grogu. I don't know if you've ever known that, Brent.
I have not.
Baby Yoda's real name is Grogu. They brought the Grogu animatronic to Mark Hamill's house. They brought the script. They brought the director. And they all just, okay, this has gone very poorly because I'm talking about Mandalorian. And, oh gosh. And they did the scene, basically. And the reason I'm telling this is because most of this one got me the most, because Mark Hamill is credited in the episode as being Luke. So what's funny is there's an episode, because most of the time when they filmed, it's either like in a studio or in the volume, which is this, I don't know if you know this, Brent, is this giant set of LCD screens that forms this big circle, like, 3/4 circle, that they use the Unreal Engine and basically a game engine with super enhanced realistic graphics to create environments that look super realistic, and you don't have to film like on location and stuff like that. And it is honestly my favorite thing about The Mandalorian is the volume, because it is so. I hit you once. Oh, hey, there's a Drake over there on the left.
Just hanging.
And so normally they film there, but there's one episode where they bye. He's leaving, or is he on the Drake now? Oh, my gates! Oh no, he's back in the fortress. Okay, bye. I'm just gonna leave. Ow, 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 ow.
He's like, nope.
Excuse me, pardon me, excuse me, coming through, excuse me. Get out of my way, please. Get out of my way. Out of my way. Man, I'm glad Paul is not here. Look at all this grog.
It's gone.
No, there's still plenty of grog for me to poison, but I'm not gonna do it.
You should take the time.
Just when he's not here, take the time to poison it all.
Oh boy. Helm. No! I wanted Helm! Yeah, so there's this one episode where it is all kind of outside, and they actually filmed it on location. It's the only episode they filmed on location. It was Robert Rodriguez's episode. And while they're filming it, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are back at the studio filming Mark Hamill's bit. Like, so everyone is gone except for, like, 10 people who know about what's about to happen. And so, because they filmed it with the body double. Because they filmed it with the body double that was Plo Koon, you know, and then they filmed it with Mark Hamill in secret, like just them. And I love that because they're like, oh, we got to keep this super top secret, bonus secret. Like, I have flown why did I just fly off of it? So they film it in secret with Mark Hamill in the costume and everything, and with the actual R2-D2 model, with the blue one, you know, because R2-D2 is blue. They started kind of like the visualization on his face, and they did a couple. They kind of, I don't know if they combined or if they started out with one method and then changed what they wanted to do, because it's not necessarily like a deep fake. It's something a little different. It's more akin to like Ant-Man with what they did with the de-aging tech. But something that I thought, especially because Mark Hamill was credited as being Luke in the episode, was I thought that he recorded the lines and then they kind of like pitch shifted his voice down to make him sound young, which I didn't seem like that's definitely doable. Like, it's definitely not outside the realm of possibilities. But then I found out, they said in this episode, his voice is entirely synthetic. Oh, he's a badass. Look at this guy. Oh, hey, Ariel. Get out of my Olog. Okay, I'm down again. Well, where are you going? So, his voice is entirely synthetic because there is a software basically where you can put in, if you have enough lines of dialogue from a certain voice, it can replicate that voice. So they basically took all of Mark's lines from the original trilogy, including, and also did a couple of audiobooks that Mark Hamill did when he was younger, about that age. So they had this entire library of basically Mark Hamill's voice and synthesized all of his lines.
That's insane.
And so I bring this up because, 15 minutes ago I talked about Frank Oz. So I'm like, these days, it's entirely possible if Frank Oz had been dead, that they could have just synthesized his voice from something else. Like,
see, I was wondering where that was going.
I know, it's very long-winded. I get so excited, especially talking about The Mandalorian, just because I love it.
That's interesting, though. I actually didn't know any of that, so that's interesting. Yeah. I don't know if this is like, I'm going to sound dumb for saying this, but it's like just sitting here thinking about that. They can actually do that. Yeah. It's just like, oh my gosh, it's just this.
Well, part of, yeah. Actually, a good 5 minutes of that episode of them talking about Luke Skywalker is about 5 minutes of Jon Favreau talking about the dangers of deepfake technology. Almost too long. Like, I understand the potential real danger in that type of technology. I want to do the Helm Hammerhand mission first before I do the Balrog. And I understand that, so I'm not... But it's just I think we got your point, John. Like, it kind of just keeps going.
Just sort of beating a dead horse?
Kind of. At least that's how I felt. Because I'm like, this seems a little excessive in terms of what you're trying to convey, because I think you've made your point. Because, yeah, deepfake technology could be really, potentially dangerous, you know? Hello, Laura Bailey. Sorry we missed Critical Role last night.
Dude, did you miss it?
I missed it.
Dude.
We got distracted. I forgot. I am not used to Thursday night being Critical Role night.
Yeah.
Like, we were watching season 2 of Rebels.
Oh, nice.
And
dude, it was crazy.
I still haven't watched the second episode.
Well, let me tell you.
No!
No, you're right.
Fresh
we
cut
won't
grass
spoil
is
for
in
the
it.
audience. I'll tell you after we're done recording.
just, we don't want to spoil our audience.
Why do you keep fighting?
I missed the first part of it, the first half. So I came in the second half.
Do you think talking about character design is like artwork design is spoiler territory?
From now.
At this point, I would say no, because that stuff comes out in the first episode, and it's already on the internet.
Yeah.
Oh, hello. Oh, there's a Drake.
I will say the description for Talison's character.
So cool.
The whole time that I was sitting there watching that, I was thinking, man, that is a beautiful guy. Just the description of his crystal hair and the peridot body. I'm a geologist, by the way.
So you would like be all up in
Yes.
the know about that stuff.
I couldn't tell you at this point about any sort of chemistry, but just from an aesthetic, it was great.
So cool.
I am in love with this man.
Taliesin Ashton is his character's name. Is very unique.
Super cool.
I also find it funny, in potentially spoiler, but not really spoiler territory, is how he spends not all, but, a vast majority of Campaign 2 as Caduceus, and this mild-mannered, like, voice of reason. Whereas in this one, he is all about swearing and being obnoxious.
Really
and
laid back.
just super, like, the opposite. Like, the
Agent of Chaos.
the antithesis of Caduceus. Oh, hello! Good gosh, Helm is all about frickin' creatures, isn't he? Alright, get on the ground, noob. And,
That was a cool animation.
gotcha, Drake!
I actually prefer Eminem
Yeah,
to Drake.
I don't like rappers. They serve a purpose, but once I have my candy bar, I don't have any purpose for them anymore.
You got me with that one.
I was about to say, am I just not funny? Is that joke just not funny?
It was coming across, like, especially in light of the last conversation of, like, people can have their opinions and like what they like.
Yeah, and then it's like,
It's a weird thing to follow. But it was a very clever pun.
Thank you.
They are banished from death.
So far, these characters are amazing.
Yeah, I've enjoyed these characters.
And, I mean, the cast is just so good at making these almost instantly iconic characters. Something I like also, in terms of, like, I guess what we could call game design, that Matt has done for campaigns 1 and 2, is that basically the first quest comes from one of the players. Mm-hmm. Because in campaign 2, it was Molly Muck and Yasha invited everyone to the circus. That's where everything started going down. And in this one, it was with Bertrand Bell. Hello, Helm. Oh my gosh, he just force pulled me! Helm's a Sith Lord. Let's talk about Duel of the Fates again, eh? No, Fireball!
Speaking of Naruto, from like 30 minutes ago, there's a character that does that sort of pulling, has a sort of pulling ability. Uses it to great effect. That just reminded me of it.
Okay.
And also a bomb-ass name. He is called Pain.
He's called Pain.
Yeah.
I am Pain.
I'm gonna make a D&D character. It's called Pain.
If you are named Pain, you are either badass or you are the little gremlin from Hercules. Like,
oh my gosh.
There's no two ways about it. Which, by the way, one of my favorite Disney films of all time is Hercules.
That's a great movie.
Hello! Oh, there's two! I didn't know there was two of them.
And they were
Rap battle.
roommates.
The Drakes were roommates?
Yeah.
Sounds like a great sitcom, and I'm down. Alright, Helm, do your thing. Zeltariel's not going to save me this time. Ow, jeez Louise.
That animation's brutal.
Yeah. Hello. Hi. How are you? You just glare at me and go away. Oh, good. It starts me back here. I was like, please don't start me at the beginning. I know it's a very good place to start.
Speaking of starting at someplace other than the start, I just had this crazy memory of elementary school. I used to like read the last page in books for some reason.
Why?
I don't know.
It's fun.
You just want to know what happens.
Yeah, like from the start, not even reading the rest of it. Just no, start on the last page. I think I did that for some of the Harry Potter books.
Oh my gosh.
I definitely did it for the 5th book. For sure.
Okay, this is bad.
The 5th book was
real
long.
bad. I forgot. I didn't remember this boss fight being this difficult.
Hopefully you didn't do that. For our audience, great book recommendation if you're a reader. Immortal Nicholas Flamel.
Oh, The Alchemist?
Alchemist books.
I actually did do that for that book.
Did you really?
I did, yeah.
From like
that
the
exact
4th one?
too.
For the 5th one?
Yeah.
Dude, the ending of that one, because how that ends, that last line is like...
I just sort of like skimmed over it.
Uh-huh.
Like my brain didn't comprehend until I went back and read the book all the way. And oh my god!
And then it's like, wait a minute.
That line.
That was Josh.
It's like...
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Well, those books have been out for like
I know,
a long
but still.
time. But like from like the 3rd or 4th one till the end, it would go up until the last
I know,
page.
like
and that was great.
I know, like I remember at some points you're like, where you're just kind of like, oh my god.
Like I remember the 4th and 5th one end, and it's like.
For those of you who are not aware, the Immortal Nicholas Flamel, the Alchemist series, is basically like Percy Jackson on steroids.
Yeah, it's all the myths.
Oh man.
All the magic.
Legends.
But the thing is, I was reading something. The only people that are like made up characters that aren't are the two main, are the siblings, the two main. Yeah. The rest of them are like actual
they're real
like,
historical people.
Like whether they be like myths or whatever, but they're actual like
like Nicholas Flamel and his wife and
like,
the main villain D. Like they were real people. Yeah, they
were
Machiavelli
like
and all that.
Mm-hmm. But those books were so good. Yeah, the last one, how that ends, and it just like ends. He's just like, oh my gosh.
I read that in high school, and I told my mom, you have to read this series. And she got to that part, and she's like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. And then Morgan started reading it, and it took her so long to finish. She was on the last book, and she just wouldn't finish. And Mom and I were like, finish the book. And at one point, we
need to talk about this.
Exactly.
Honestly, though.
So we go on a road trip to Idaho Falls, and she brings the book, and she's reading it as we're driving. And we go home, and I remember we were watching a movie or a riff tracks or something, and she's like, okay, I'm almost done. And I look over her shoulder, and she's at the part. I was like, Mom, I like signal. I'm like, she's at the bit. And we just watch her eyes as she's reading, like, what? And then like this slow burning realization of what's happening. That was just like everyone's reaction reading that bit because it's just so outstandingly done. Oh, hi!
Like even for as old as those books are, I like don't want to spoil it.
Oh, I know. Just, like, it's so freaking
it is so good.
Because it comes out of nowhere.
Oh yeah.
And we want to talk about like not spoilers, but like twists and reveals and all that stuff. Like,
yeah, I can't say that I expected it.
No.
But I want to go back and read it again and see if I can pick up.
See if there are any hints.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's old enough. I'm not going to say outright what happened. Because I kind of want to go back and reread them, honestly.
Oh, same. Like, I've honestly been thinking about that a lot.
I think I was reading... I don't remember if I read it online or if I went back and checked. What? But, like, one of the things it does kind of, like, when you go back, it talks about, like, his eye color and, like...
Yeah, that's what
stuff where it was,
like,
little things, like, just random, like, just small details that it's...
Yeah.
Like, were important later, but it's... Dude, I want to reread those books now.
I know, they're honestly so just really good. Like, because they're really good characters. Like, even like the main villain, like, D as a character, I thought was outstanding.
Well, isn't it? Who's in the 4th one? It's not Ares, is it? Who is it that?
It's Mars, technically.
That's who. Okay, I couldn't remember. It was one of the gods.
Oh, thank you, Elsario. You actually
don't they like awaken him in the sewers or something?
Yeah, it's in the catacombs of Paris.
That's what it was. Okay, I could not remember.
So I remember more of that series than I do so many others. When I was reading Heroes of Olympus, I remembered nothing from book to book. Like, I never read like any of those short stories Riordan did. So when Bob the Titan shows up...
Oh, I did read those short stories. Yeah.
I had no clue who Bob the Titan is. There's like the Demigod Files. Did you ever hear of those, Alex?
Oh, that's right.
Because you remember Bob the Titan from House of Hades.
Yes.
But he shows up and I'm like, oh, Bob the Titan! And then I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
Who's Bob the Titan? And then I'm like, oh, I remember. No. Like, it was just this back and forth. My mom's like, who's Bob the Titan? And I'm like, I don't know. We found out from another friend of ours who had read the Demigod Files. He was from that. And I'm like, because I was like, was he from like Battle of the Labyrinth or something? Because I remember so much of the Percy Jackson series itself. But Heroes of Olympus, from book to book, I remembered jack squat. Like, I don't know why I forgot so much of it. But from book to book, I couldn't keep anything straight. Why am I not?
Two series. Okay, one of them. I'm just thinking of books now.
Dang it!
Speaking of Percy Jackson, the Red Pyramid, the Egyptian ones.
Yeah. Also,
those
really
were really good ones.
I never read any of the new ones he's done, like the Apollo one. I forget what that was called, or the Magnus Chase.
Yeah, because there's like
aren't
those.
Here we go. Yeah, the Norse ones. Magnus Chase is Norse.
I own the first two books, but I haven't gotten to them.
Is it? Yeah, I haven't read any of them. I've like seen them around, and I just haven't. Because isn't it Annabeth's like brother or cousin or something?
Yes.
Because they're related.
She references him in Blood of Olympus.
Does she really?
Or in Blood of Olympus, I remember she mentioned her cousin, and I was like, wait, Magnus Chase.
And it's like,
is this like a reference?
Yeah.
And then she actually shows up in the final chapter of his first book.
Oh, does she really?
That's kind of like a cameo.
That's pretty cool.
So this is Helm Hammerhand, the guy we were just fighting.
Oh yeah.
You may recognize his name. He made Helm's Deep, the great fortress of Rohan, where the climactic battle of Two Towers takes place. This is non-canon. Well, only sort of non-canon. It was believed in Tolkien's official literature that Helm Hammerhand actually became a wraith to defend the Valley of Helm Hammerhand, not as one of the chosen 9 kings of Sauron. This is just, of course, more creative liberties taken, but still pretty cool.
No.
Don't fight him.
It's a really tragic story.
Oh, don't worry about it. It'll get there.
Well, that's reassuring.
Yeah, I have not kept up on my high school habit of reading.
Oh, same.
I want to get back. I don't know if you're the same way. Like, I'll go in random spurts of reading. Like, sometimes I'll find a good book, and then for like a year or two or something, I just like get busy, just don't read, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I need to read, and I'll start reading, and I'll read for a little bit, and then all of a sudden I just stop.
You know what book I really enjoed?
What?
Peter and the Starcatchers.
I never read those. Oh, did I read the first one? I don't remember if I know what book you're talking about, but I don't know if I ever read those. Yeah. I heard they were really good, though.
For anyone that doesn't know, it's sort of an origin story for Peter Pan. I think it was published by Hyperion.
I think so,
Disney's publishing thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was very good.
Is it good? I've heard. I remember that book, but I don't think I ever read it. So.
Yeah, they were about like 600-page books. Something like that.
That's cool. I know there's some good books. Like one of the other ones I was thinking about is Beyonders by Brandon Mull.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one.
Those were really good. Did you read those last time?
What?
Beyonders?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I love Beyonders.
I know those were good.
Sorry, I was getting caught up in the cutscene.
I know. I just couldn't remember. I was like,
I don't know if they're talking about Celebrimbor was there when Celebrimbor was there when Sauron gave the rings to the kings. So now Talion's a bit upset. But yes, Beyonders, Fablehaven, so good.
Those are good books.
Beyonders is on a different level.
That was so good. Like
the first one's a little slow. Starts off a bit slow.
Definitely world building.
The funny thing is,
for sure,
I don't remember much of them. Like I remember them being really good. But
I know there's parts of them. Like, but then this is kind of a spoiler alert. Like, on this
Kelly
one.
can't win.
Did you ever read Five Kingdoms? It was his next series he wrote after Beyonders.
I never read
I read
Five
the first
Kingdoms.
book.
I ended up because I started reading them and I was like, this is good, and I actually like those were one of the series I like hadn't read in a while. I was like, I should start reading, and I like binged those books. That was a really good series because it was just interesting how he did it, but they reference things in Beyonders in them.
Yeah,
that I kind of forgot about, and then it was like they like things showed up, and I'm like, hold up, like I'm like I know these things. It was just like
wait, I know this stuff.
Yeah. But those were really good books too. It was like,
maybe you'll remember this. Is the Beyonders the series where what?
I just destroyed my equipment.
No,
I hit the wrong button.
Like all of it, or just
what I was wearing. I meant to upgrade it, and I dang it. Sorry.
Started from the bottom. Now we're back at the bottom.
Oh, okay. Hang on. What were we just talking about? Sorry.
The Beyonders. In that series, is there a race of people, a species of people that like has like a walnut sort of thing growing out the back of their head?
For some reason, it's the Amarkabal, I think is what they're called, or something like that.
It definitely starts with the letter A.
Yeah, and they basically have like a little seed, and so when they die, they can plant it, and it basically regrows them from...
Yeah, I'm remembering that, actually.
Yeah, because like they would have... Didn't they have like... I could be remembering this wrong, but it's like their first death.
Yeah.
And so then it's like when they die, it'll be at that age or something. So they do it in like their 20s or something.
Yeah.
So then when they die later, when they get their seed and they plant it, it'll be at that age of their first death or something like that.
Didn't that series also have like a zombie thing?
It's very possible. Man, maybe. It's been so long since I read Beyond.
Because I remember one of those Amarkavals was like, this is fine. Like getting infected with these like zombie worms.
Maybe. I think you're right. That kind of... I think you
That was a great
right.
series.
It was so good.
I don't remember much of it.
Yeah.
I loved the guy who couldn't feel pain.
I know, that guy.
I don't even remember who you're talking about.
Like, okay, because just random, like, Are you want spoilers? This is Five Kingdoms. I don't want to spoil it.
Let's continue this in the next episode.
We're late.
Half an hour. Yeah, half an hour. It's okay. I like this discussion. I want to keep it going. Thank you guys for watching. We're talking about books. We've had some really good discussions today.
I know, these are good.
Talking about books and movies while playing a video game.
It's all about media. It's all about entertainment mediums right here, boys and boys and girls, nerds. I don't know.
Hope you've been entertained.
Thank you for watching. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. Comment your favorite books. Comment if you read any of the books that we've been talking about, or books that you really, really enjoy that we didn't mention. Subscribe to the channel if you like our content. Follow us on Twitch at TheNerdHerd90s, on Instagram as well, same handle. And we will see you guys in the next video.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I thought you said it was our Sam handle.
Our Sam handle? What's a Sam handle?
No, Sam handle.
Sam handle.